So we are going to talk about the statements in Python. Right. So what are the statements? What are the different types of statements in Python? That's we are going to talk about. The first one is nothing but the if-else. So we'll be talking about the if-else. Yeah. So if-else basically allows us to, so basically see, any programming language is nothing but we are trying to communicate to the computer, right? We are asking the computer to do something. So when you write the code, you do not want to do that. You want your computer to do something. So it's nothing but the programming language is basically you are communicating with your computer, right? So if-else is a logic where you tell to perform some simple task. For example, you tell them that if this is the case, if this happens, then do this, otherwise do that. So that's nothing but if-else in a nutshell. And how you have to tell that, how you have to write the code, that's what we'll be looking into. Before seeing what exactly is this, we'll talk about the idea of indentation in Python, right? So for example, let's say I'm writing if, then here you will be writing the condition, right? And then you have to define the space of this if condition, right? So let's say I'll simply, okay, yeah. So you'll be defining the space of this condition, like what are the different codes, different lines of code that will be, executed if this condition is true, right? So let's say, let's say run this code. Right. And if else condition is there, and in the else condition, when this condition is not true, then the program flow will come into this else part, and here it will do the things, right? So for example, run in case of false condition, right? So this particular thing will be running in case when this condition is false. When true condition. Okay, so there is one thing that you have to understand. There is a indentation that I'm talking about, right? So this is the indentation level, right? You have to maintain it. If you break it over here, right? So this means that you have break the indentation. So if condition has only this particular thing to run, if condition will not have access to run this particular line, and also that will be an error because that is not properly indented, right? So you have to understand, you define the scope of any statement by using this indentation, right? So you see, this is if statement and I'm indenting all three blocks. So that means these three blocks are under this if condition. So if this condition is true, then it is going to run all these three lines of code. Okay. If I'm writing anything here, will not run. Right. So that's the idea of indentation. Okay. And if you're writing another if statement over here, then condition 2, let's say, then once again you have to indent your block, right? So see, we'll see a lot of examples, and in those examples you'll be able to see all these indentation, right? So no issues for that as well. Okay, so we'll look into multiple examples from now. All right. Second level of indentation, and this was the first level of indentation. So you can also indent your block over here. So there should be also the corresponding else block for this. Okay. So that's the if else here. I can make it a raw and we convert. All right. So let's try to understand how exactly we write a real code in if else in Python, right? So let's say we have a condition x is equals to let's say 10, right? And then we have to write like if, and then here will be a condition I told you. So the condition that you can define anything. For example, I'm defining x is greater than 0. So this condition where x is greater than 0, this will be true or false. It will be true because the value of x is 10 and 10 is greater than 0. So it will be true, right? So, and then you can simply write any print statement. Let's say x is greater than 0. And you can simply write another print statement, print this is true case, right? All that. And else, in the else condition, you can write, let's say print, you can write any print statement, right? Hi, this is else. Hi, this is else. Print the condition is false, right? So if I run it, see what is running. It is running the if part only. And if I, let's say, write it over here. So see, it is giving you the error that the syntax is wrong. That is because this particular code is not following the syntax, right? This is not the correct indentation, right? So, and also let's say here, if I write something like this, so it says unindented does not match any other indentation level, right? So this basically should match the indentation, right, with the previous ones. Okay, so now if you simply run it, so you have got the indentation error, so you have to properly match it. So you can do like this, okay? And let's say if this condition is not, correct, then it will go into the else block. See, that's how it simply runs it, right? You know, now you understand the indentation, the idea of indentation, and then this is how the if else work. So there will be an if statement and a condition. If that condition is true, that will go and run under the inside if. Otherwise, it will go and run inside the else condition. So that's what it means also, right? If this, then do this, otherwise do else, right? So that's what it does. So I hope you guys were able to understand that. Okay. Yeah, so you can also have, let's say, let's understand some more detail, different types of it. So let's say, what if we do, if instead of writing a condition, because this condition will be evaluated into either true or false, right? This condition will be evaluated in either true or false. So other than this, what we can do, we can simply make it true or false, right? So this is a constant true or false, right? So I'm simply running always true because it is never going to have a false condition because it is a constant true, right? You can also have a variable, store the results into that. Let's say is equals to false. And then you can, instead of if true, you can give B here. So whatever the store is. So B is having false, right? So it will search for the else condition. So there is no else part of it. So it will simply do nothing, right? So it will simply do nothing in this case, right? So if you write the else part of it, so see, this Python is very flexible that it will even consider, all the cases if there is, no else as well, right? So if you are writing only if, no else, then that will also be a valid code. It will not have any impact, right? So that will be correct code as well. So print right, so it is coming and it says not true. Right, so this was pretty basic logic of if else. Now I hope you guys are able to understand the if else logic, right? So other than this, you can also, so let's have some example, let's understand with some examples, and then we'll have some more in-depth of the same, right? So let's say the very famous example of this if else is nothing but getting this um, getting this even and odd numbers in Python. So if you remember, we had a modulo operator, right? So if you have a modulo operator, right? So let's say you have a number n is equals to 9, and then if you do n modulo 2, so what will you get? You will get the remainder. So if you divide 9 by 2, so what remainder will you get?
1.
1. If n is 8, and then what remainder will you get? Okay, I run it. It will be 0. Right. So you can see here, if a number is even, then you will get a remainder as 0. So that's nothing but the full divisor. If the number is odd, then you will get a remainder as 1, right? So in this case, what you can do, you can simply write if n modulo 2 equal to 0, then what is this case? Even or odd?
Even.
Even, right? And if it is not so, else, and then here what will be printing? Odd. All right. So you see, if the number is 3, then it says odd. If the number is 8, then it says even, right? Okay, so now I hope you understand these pretty basic things. And alternatively, let's say if I change this 0 to 1, then what else we'll have to change to work it correctly? Yeah, so we need to change the cases, right? So this will be odd case and this will be even case, right? And then it will work fine. Okay, so that's something you have to take care whenever you are doing the whenever you are doing the whenever you are programming the logic, then you have to take care of these things. So what is what condition, so you have to understand that. So now I hope you have pretty basic idea about what this if else is and what you can do on this, right? Let's have some basic ideology, like some basic question. There are, let's say, I'll choose. Right. So let's say Deepak and Atharv, these are two best friends. And Deepak has organized some party, right? And he has only invited Atharv, right? Okay, one more thing. Before starting this example, what I would say, um, basically, see, you can do the same thing with other logics as well, right? So there is no issue with that. You can implement some basic logics with less line of code. That's fine. But here we are going to learn one of the important thing of if else. So I'm picking this example, but yeah, the same thing can be done by some other logics in less line of code. So no issues with that. Okay, please don't mind that. No, you cannot use return. For return, you need to use functions, right? There is no functions in here. All right. So let's say, as I said, Atharv and Deepak, these are the two best friends, and Atharv has organized a party and he has invited Deepak only, right? So what he has done, he has simply programmed one thing on the screen. So anybody comes, they will write their name, right? Let's say Deepak comes, he will write his name. And then Atharv will check. So Atharv has written a logic. So Deepak comes, he will write his name. Atharv, the program will check. If the name is Deepak, then he will grant the entry. Otherwise, he will not allow them, right? See, I have not talked about that different types of inputs as of now. Once I'll talk, I'll give you that as well, how to take inputs and all that. Maybe in the next lecture. Okay. All right. So these are the things, like, let's say he says the name is Deepak, then he will compare, right? He'll write if name equal to Deepak, right? So what will he do? If this scenario is correct, right? If this scenario is correct, then he will simply print a message that welcome to the party, followed by, let's say, the name of Deepak. Here we can use F string, right? In the else part, I can simply print who are you, leave soon, otherwise I'll call the cops. So he has very strict guidelines in his party, right? So if someone else comes, so let's say if Deepak comes, he writes his name, right? And then there is says, it prints that welcome to the party, Deepak. Let's say someone else goes there, right? Let's say Charan goes there. Charan goes there, he writes he writes his name, and then it says, who are you, leave soon, otherwise I'll call the cops. Or you can simply say that you are not invited to the party. Right? You're not invited to the party, leave soon, otherwise I'll call the cops. So this message appears. Let's say soon he realized that Charan is also his best friend. Now he wants to also include him, right? So you can add logics, like you can use and operator and here, and then write name is equal to Charan, or you can use R operator here, right? But the thing is, there is another way to do this, right? Let's say you check one condition and then you want to check again. So you can also write if condition here inside it, right? If you write once again an if condition, if let's say name is equal to Charan, not here actually, inside else, you're writing if name equal to Charan, okay. Then once again you'll be giving this particular message, right? And here you can write the else part, and in this else part you can use this statement, right? Now you can see this time what is happening. In the else you have written another if, and then the else of this is basically giving you this. So if, let's say, else if, let's say, I go there, right, and I write my name, so this message comes up, and then I'll leave soon from there. Okay, so this is the case that you can implement inside it. But in Python, this is used to be, in all the other programming languages are not so intelligent. The Python is very intelligent in this term. So what it does, it gives you a pretty basic implementation of this, right? So you can simply do, what you can simply do is you can replace this whole thing with Elif, right? So see, Girish is asking why you are using two same equals assignment, right? So if you have not seen that, this is comparison, right? It's not assignment. If you use single equal to, that's assignment. Here we are using comparison operator. We are comparing whether the name is equal to Charan or not. Go and watch the previous sections, okay? Okay, so we can replace this whole thing by elif command. So what we can do here, so we can use elif is the combination of else and if. So else if, and then you can write the condition here again, condition, and once again the message, and this will go into the else. See, this one does not look that much complicated, but yeah, it does the same thing, right? So if you do this, let's say if I write Charan, this one is printing welcome to the party Charan, this one is also printing. If I write Deepak, now you see these both are printing the same thing. If I write Akash, then this one does this. And if I have to add another name, this will be hectic in this one, but in this one, all you have to do, just add another Elif condition and here give another name, right? And this time, if I run with name Akash, then it says welcome to the party Akash. Now Akash is also the me. I'm also the part of the party, right? So that's pretty basic things. The Elif statement in Python, right? If you are going to do multiple comparison in your if statement, then you can use Elif as well in case if you have multiple comparison or multiple cases, right? So that's about this Elif. Okay. So I hope that you might have got, so these two examples might have helped you to understand the pretty basic things about the if-else. What if you use 2 times without using the Elif? Okay, that's also a valid question. Let's see what happens in that case. So let's say if you use if here, what will happen? This if is out of context now. It does not have got to do anything with any other else's, right? Now, this is the if, and this is the elif, and this is the corresponding else. This does not have any other. So this statement is different from this statement. I mean, before this, they were connected to each other, right? But not now. Here, if I'm running this, let's say, if I'm running this, so what will happen? What will happen? This particular condition, let's say if I run with Deepak, yeah, you will understand. Let's say if I run with Deepak, it says welcome to the party Deepak. But here, what will happen? First, this one will run, and this is a different statement. So this will run alone, right? Here it runs and then welcome to the party Deepak. And when it comes here, another statement, another if statement starts, and then it will check this is not Deepak, this is not Deepak, then it will go into the else block that you don't want, right? So you can simply add Elif here. That's what happens if you do not use, 2 times if without Elif or without else. So this will become a different statement in that case. These two will be treated individually. Okay. There is different sections, like what if we use, can we use functions in if conditions? Exactly, you can use functions in if conditions. We have not gone to functions yet, so I'm not calling any functions around. You can do anything inside them. You can run any Python, you can write any Python code inside them. Nothing to worry. Let's understand what what for loop is. Okay. A for loop is nothing but acts as an iterator in Python. What is iterator now? So iterator is that goes through items in a sequence or any other iterable, right? So sequence, like you have list, you have tuples, you have dictionaries, not dictionary, you have list, tuples, strings, sets. These are the, not sets, these are the sequences, right? Means they have multiple elements in one object, right? Let's say if you have a string, so you have multiple letters. If you have a list, you have multiple elements in that, like either it can be list, integer, tuples, floats, or whatever, right? So those are nothing but the iterable items. They have more than one things in one object. Okay. So they will be called as a sequence or any other iterable item. So anything that has more than one object inside it, we can call it as an iterable item. I'll come to the iterable items later. So object that we have learned about, we can iter over, include string, list, tuples, built-in iterables for dictionaries and such as dictionary keys or values are also iterables, right? So we've not seen any example of for loop, I guess, as of now. So let's understand this. So basically, how do we use for loop? We'll be using for, right? And then you'll be using a variable here for variable in, and then you will be writing the iterable. iterable or, you know, but you can do the sequence. Right? So you'll be writing iterable or sequences, and then you can, like, whatever you want to do with this variable, you can go inside and then you can do it. Okay. Do something here. So let's have some example and try to understand what exactly. See, Sakshi, can we write range 2? I have not talked about range yet. So once I'll talk about range, I'll tell you what you can do with the range as well. Okay. Range is one of the iterable, right? It's a generator function actually. So I'll cover that and then I'll tell you. So for, let's say you have a number list. That's a list of numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, or let's say some other numbers can be there. Let's say 12, 12, 32, 13, 74, 35, 96, 57, 91, 10, right? All that. So let's say this is the list 1, right? And list is an iterable. So what we can do, we can use for, and the variable that you choose here, you have to choose is sensibly. Let's say I'm using X as of now, for X in list 1, right? See what happens when I use this variable. So this is the variable that goes through every element in this list and store inside it. So this 12 will be stored in X once. The next iteration 32 will be stored. In the next iteration 13 will be stored. In the next iteration 74 will be stored, and so on and so forth. Okay. So I can do whatever with this X. So for example, print. So that's why I say that you have to use it sensibly. For here, I can use it num for num in list 1, because all these are nothing but numbers, right? So for num in list 1, I can, let's say, simply print num, right? And when I print num, you can see here, it is simply printing all these numbers. Let's say if I want to add 10 into all them and then print. So the 12 has been printed as 22, 32 has been printed as 42, or else let's say if I simply do square of them and then print, right? See, I'm just getting the square of all the numbers that I had. So I am going through each and every number. So that's what is the task of this for loop, right? If you have anything to do with like going through all the numbers, then you can use for loop at there, and then inside the loop, whatever you want to do. See, once again, this is indentation, right? So this particular code is inside the for loop. If I write it here, it will be wrong indentation, right? I need to write something inside the loop always. So the idea of the for loop is basically it goes through every element one by one, store in this variable, and then do whatever you want to, right? I will give you some example, then you will be able to understand what you can do with the help of for loop. Okay. So that's what it does. Okay, once again, let's say understanding of this for loop, we can understand it as, let's say I want to simply see all the even numbers and odd numbers differently in this loop, in this list, right? So what we can do, we can simply go through, let's say, for num in list 1, and then I can check here. So I can write if condition inside this for loop, right? So if num modulo 2 equal to 0, right? Then I will simply print odd, and also followed by the number as well. And in the else block, I can print odd followed by the number, because this is an even condition. Okay. All right. See what it does. It goes through every number, check if it is even or odd, and does accordingly, right? So this particular thing logic I have written inside even or odd number, inside this for loop. So this num is number that will change based on the for loop. So for loop goes through every number in this list, goes to this 12, 32, 13, 74, 35, 96, 57, 21, and 10. Right. See, it goes through every number one by one, checks whether it is even or odd, so, and then prints it. Right. So that's what this for loop can do for you. Okay. So I'll be giving you more example in the the notebook that I will share to you, so you can simply go and learn about them as well. Let's say I simply wants to sum up all these numbers in this list, right? All the numbers in this list. So I can use for loop for it. Now, can anyone tell me the logic? How can I sum up all the numbers in this list? So it says sum is equals to sum plus num. Okay. There is someone has given the the whole code using I++, C18 Muhammad Arif. I'm not sure. I++ is not a good thing. I++ we don't use here. Sorry, we don't do that here. Okay. Let's say if I simply do for, okay, for num in L. So what I'm doing is by using this for num in L, or not L, actually it's list one, right? By doing this for num in list one, I'm going through all the numbers. Then what I have to do is I have to define a summation that is equals to 0 initially, right? And then I have to add this, like s is equals to s plus num. So let me just walk through what is happening. So you see, first number is 12, right? So let's say LST1, list one, right? So first number is 12. So what will it do? It will go to the first number. You know already the variable, the value of s is 0 right now. The current s is 0, and then 0 plus num, that is 12. That will be 12, and that will be assigned to this s. Now the current value of s is what? 12. Now it will go to the next iteration, number will change, that will be 32. Now the current value of s is 12. Now 12 plus what? 32. So that will be how much? 44. And that will be assigned to s again. So s has been updated to 34 now, 44 now. And then 44 plus once again to the next number, that is 13. And then it will do till the very end. And that's how it will add up all the numbers. So see, this is how you have to develop the logic if you are asked to do something. So you have to understand. So it will come until and like if it will not come until unless you do some practice on this. See, I'm able to develop this logic because I already know, I have done a lot of practice on this. And if you give me a new scenario, I will be able to develop logic for that as well, right? But if you want to do the same, you need to do practice. So for practicing, I would say you can go to some of the platforms like LeetCode or CodeChef or HackerRank. You can do practice of pretty basic things over there on them, on any programming language. Somebody is saying s is equals to s plus question mark. I'm not sure what is this s plus 1 question mark. What do you want to ask? S is equals to s plus 1 question mark. So we are updating the value of s, right? Let's say whatever the value of s is right now, we are adding them into s and then updating the value. That's what we are doing with this. So similarly, let's say if I run this and then I check at the end the value of s, that is 419, 498, and that's correct. How, if you want to verify, there is a sum function, an inbuilt function that can give you the summation of the whole thing. So if you pass list one in this one, it will see that's how it does. So that's another example for this for loop. So I hope you are able to understand. So this is one way you can use for loop. There is another way. I'll tell you the indices way, but for that we need to understand the range. So first we'll understand the range function itself. Okay. So range is one of the function that is that gives you the the value from, let's say, if I write 10 here, so it will give me a value from 0 to 9. And you see, it is a generator function. It will give you the value only if you need, right? Otherwise, it will just give you the generator object. That's it. Okay. So let's say if you need, so for I in range 10, and if I print I, so what will happen? See, it is giving you number from 0 to 9 now. So this is a generator object. This is an iterator. So I told you in the beginning, right? There are two types of iterators. So one is the sequences. This is the another iterator. It's not a sequence. It will not give you value at once. It will give you value whenever it is needed only. Okay. So this range function is like this. So 10, if you give 10, so it will give me it will give you value from 0 till 10 minus 1, that is 9. If let's say if you give two values here, 10 to 20, then it will give you value from this starting to beginning with the step size of 1. So you see here 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 up to 19. If you give another thing, that is the step size. So if you remember in the string slicing or list slicing, we were talking about the step size. So here we have the step size of 2. Let's say I'm starting from 11 and going to 20 with the step size of 2. From 11 to 13 and 13 to 15, it is a step of 2. If I use a step of 3, so it will go from 11 to 14 and 14 to 17, and 20 is not part of this, so it will not go to 20. If it is 21, then it will go to 20. Right. So that's what this range does. So with the help of this range function, what you can do, let's say this list 1 has how many elements? You can simply check the length of it. So you can go, right? You can go with the index. So first is that you can directly fetch the elements and do something. The other way is that you can fetch the elements by their index. Remember, how do we do the indexing? Let's say list 1 of 0 will get the first element. List 1 of 1 will get the second element. List 1 of 2 will get the third element. So if we could understand this 0, 1, 2, right, then we can simply fetch the elements. So that's what this range function does. So the length of this is 10, right? And if I do len of range, len of list 1 pass here, so it's nothing but I'm passing 10. So it will give me the value from 0 to 9. That is nothing but the index of this LST1. If I pass 9, so I'll get the last element, that is 10, right? So instead of I, here I can do LST of, or let's say list 1 of I. So there we have 12, 32, 13, 34, and all that. So all the numbers that I had over there, I have got it. So this is the another way you can use indexing to find out the element, right? This has an advantage. If you want to modify something in the loop, then you'll have to have this method. You cannot use this method to modify something in the loop, modify something in this list, right? But here you can do, right? So that's pretty much of it about the for loop, right? This one is, again, you can simply see, I'll just repeat it again. This range one, I talked about the range is a generator function that gives the value. So I'm passing the length of this list and it will generate one value less than that. So that's nothing but the index of this, right? So 0 to 9, it has 10 length. So the index will be 0 to 9. If the index is 0 to 9, so we can use this, whatever we are getting from here as an index, and then LST of I, that's how you do the indexing. Simple. Yeah. So let's go and understand the while loop. Okay. So the while statement in Python is one of the most general way to perform iteration, right? Right. We saw in the for loop, right? So a while statement will repeatedly execute a single statement or a group of statement as long as the condition is true, right? The reason why it is called loop, because the code statement are loop through it over and over again. So see here, let's say if we have something, let's say x is equals to, let's say 10, right? So we have a value 10. So what does while loop do? While, and here you will write a condition. Once again, condition, and then you can write the code here. So whatever you can write inside this while loop, right? So you can write inside this while loop, and this condition is the gateway to this while loop every time. So there is no upper limit. See, in the for loop, you see, for loop will run only till the end of this list or whatever iterable you are using, right? For loop will run only till that iterable. If that reach the end of that list or iterable, that will stop automatically. But this while loop will stop only if this condition become false. It cannot stop if this condition is not false, right? So if you have written some fixed condition here that does not changes while running the code inside it, right? So it will go into an infinite loop. For example, if you write, let's say, if you write something, let's say, for while, let's say x is less than 10. So you know what is the value of x? 0. Let's say x is 0 right now, right? And 0 is less than 10. Fine. And if you simply, let's say, print x, print hi. Okay. So print x, print hi. You see, if I run this code, so what part of the code will run? These 3 lines will run only. And that too, these are the code lines, and this is the condition line. So in this case, anywhere we are not modifying the value of x, are we? We are not modifying the value of x. So the value of x will remain same. So this condition become constant, right? This condition should not be constant. It should be varying. If this condition is constantly true or false, if it is constantly false, like if it is always false, the while loop will never run. If it is true, then it will always be true, and it will be, go to an infinite loop. Okay. If I run it, this is true condition, right? If I run it, see, sorry, this one is what? No, sorry, x is greater than I have choose, right? Let's say if I choose x is less than 10. See, it is printing 0 high, 0 high, and it will keep printing it. See, this is just running, right? It is just running this cell. You see here the kernel busy, right? And you see here this star in front of this code. So that means it has gone to an infinite loop. It is running and it will never stop. So you can use this keyboard interrupt to stop it, right? And you can see that has been stopped, and you can see at the end of this code you see this keyboard interrupt means you have stopped it intentionally. Right? So you have to have something that changes the condition. So what we can do, we can simply add, let's say x is equals to x plus 1. So this particular line will execute one side the loop, and it will change the value of x by 1 every time. It will add the value 1 in x every time. And so there will be a time when x will no longer be less than x 10. So it will be equal to 10, and then it will simply resolve the loop. See? So x is 0, 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, when it becomes 9, and then it add 1 into that, then it becomes 10. And then it goes here and check the condition. 10 is not less than 10. Then it will be false, and then loop stops. So that's the pretty basic thing about the while loop. Okay, great. So that's the basic, while loop. It's not very hi-fi thing. What you can do, simply all you have to do is you have to add a condition as an entry gate to the loop, and whatever you have written inside it, that will keep running until this condition is false. So when this condition will become false, then only the loop will stop. Okay. So you have to make that condition false inside the loop itself. If I have not added this, if I would have not added this command, this loop will never stop, because it will make this happen so that this condition will become false, and then it will be stopped. For example, if I want that this loop runs only 5 iterations, so what can I do? Give me some suggestions. If I want this loop to run only 5 iterations. So someone says less than 5. Yeah, less than 5, we can make it less than 5. If I do 5 here, so it will run only 5 iterations. Right. Okay. Otherwise, we can also do, let's make it 10, and we can also do it x is equals to x plus. So it depends on you, whatever the value of x you want, right? So it depends on you, whatever the value of x you want, and then you can simply do that, your appropriate thing. Okay. If I ask you to iterate through, the values using while loop. Okay. I think, let's try doing that. Let's write I is equals to 0. I is equals to 0, right? And then I would write a while loop while, right, while I is less than length of list 1, right? And then print list 1 of I, and then I is equals to I plus 1. Will happen in here. I have run it, but it is not running. So it should be less than. See, it is going to each and every number, and then it is stopping. So this is how you can write the logic as well. So see, what am I doing here? I'm using the index I variable as an index. So I'm starting from 0 every time I'm increasing by 1, and I'm stopping when the index becomes more than the length. So I'll just stop at that time. So that is the same thing, the way we were going through here, right? So that's the while loop for you. So there are there are 3 things actually. Break, continue, and pass in the loop, in the while loop. Okay. So let's try to understand that. And then we'll end the class. Okay. So let's see all these 3 statements in Python. So break is a statement that will break the loop anytime, right? For example, let's say you have this code. So, and if I write, let's say, break here. So what will happen? What is happening? Whenever this break statement runs, it will break the loop instantaneously. So it is printing X, it is printing high, and then it is breaking the loop in the first iteration itself. Right? But this is not how you use the break. You use the break with the help of some conditions. Let's say you don't want to break here, but you want to break if, right, if you want to break if what? If certain condition happens, right? Let's say you can write if x equal to becomes 5, then you can simply, let's say, print a message, let's say breaking, and you can write the break statement after it. See, it is not running this. Can you tell me why it is not breaking? Why it is not coming inside if? Because the value of x will never be 5. It will just be 4 and then 6. It is not being 5 anytime. So it will break only if it will become 5. So let's say now if I'm adding 1 by 1, you see here now it is breaking at 5. It prints breaking and it breaks. So you can use some conditions logic like this, and then you can use break statement. Using break statement straightforward, straightly in the while loop directly like this does not make sense. Means you are just running the whole thing just one iteration. Getting it? Hope I'm making sense here, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I mean, you see, that's what the break does. Let's understand another thing that's continuous. It might be a little bit confusing for you to use continuous. So let's understand this as well. Continue, not continuous. Continuing. So let's say I'm printing this high after it. And you know what? Need to have this Yeah. So you see, it will print and then it will do. Okay, let's see. See what is happening. So you see, at one time, let's say here I'm skipping high. So one time it is not printing high, it skipped that one iteration. That's correct, Srichan, that's right. So whenever the continue will run, it will not run anything after it. You see, there is a high, right? For every number, it prints high. But when it is 5, and let's remove this here from skipping high. You see, when the number is 4, and when it will come x is equals to x plus 5, x plus 1, then x become 5, and this condition become true, and it goes to run continue. And when it runs continue, then nothing will run after it. So what does continue do? It will simply bring the iteration to the next, right? To the next, thing. So to the next iteration. So it will bring the execution to the next, from here to here. It will go to the next iteration. It will not go anything beyond that whenever runs continue. So the next iteration, once again, this condition will become false, and it will go and run print higher, whatever. Okay. So that's what you can simply do. Understand that's how this, that's how this continue works. Okay. You can
Sir,
simply, yeah.
sir, here, like after continue statement, when we introduce continue statement, after that we had written print high, right, sir?
Yeah.
If we have list of like a couple of statements, like 4 or 5 statements, then also it won't print, sir.
See what I'm saying. Whenever continue will run, nothing will run after that. It will go to the next iteration directly.
It
So
might be
no
5 or
matter
6 statements. It doesn't matter, sir.
No matter what you have written, nothing will run after that.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Getting it? So nothing will run after that once you have run the continue statement. So now you see here, I have written the condition that continue statement will run in every, alternate. Whenever x is, divisible by 2. So x is like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's in index. So you see, it is printing 0 high. At 1, it is not printing. It is printing 2 high. At 3, it is not printing, and then 4 high. So after every, iteration, every alternate time, it is keeping this because it runs continue. So that's how intelligently you can also run the continue as well. I will take another example of this continue later in this course as well to explain you. I hope you might have understood the break. Break is really understandable, but this one is a little bit confusing. So I'll give later examples of this as well. That's what the continue is. Okay. Okay, great. So there is one more thing that you can understand is the pass. Pass is something that does not do anything. Right. For example, you have written if statement. You have written a condition x is equal to 10. Right. And here, if you leave it like this, you will get an error. Right. And if you don't want to do something, you can write pass. So if you don't want to do something, if you don't want to do anything, sometimes you can write pass over there. So pass will just remove the, let's say if you do not write anything, you will get a error in this case. But if you write pass actually does nothing. But for the code, it is a process. So it will run that and it does nothing actually. So pass is a statement that does nothing. So if you don't want to do anything, you can simply pass it. So as I told you, you can use pass at that position where you don't want to do anything, but some problem is there, right? For example, in this case, here, if I do not write anything, I actually don't want to do anything. But if I do not write anything, I will get an error. So I can simply use what? Pass statement. See, this is not a valid case. You will say that why you are writing if statement if you don't want to do anything. But there can be some conditions. I cannot just find it right now, but there can be some conditions where you will be finding out the case of the pass, use case of pass. Okay. So that's what this pass does. Okay. That's what I gave you an example. If you print high before it, So that will run, everything will run. It will not execute it will not differentiate the functionality of anything. This particular statement in itself does nothing. It has some use cases, you will find it.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's say if you don't want to do somewhere something, but writing something is necessary. So you can write pass over there. For example, as I said, once again, I'm explaining you here, writing something is necessary. If I'm writing this, I need to write something in this inside if, otherwise I'll get error. But I don't want to do anything. So I can simply write pass. Okay. Yeah. So that's what this break, continue, and pass does in this. So that's pretty much of it for today. We have seen three things: the if else, for, and while loop, and I hope that I have made it clear. And bye bye. Thanks everyone.